Hello everybody, welcome. Thank you for the follow, by the way. I don't want to mess up your username. Bass Billy? Thank you, welcome. The sound alerts didn't play though because I was on the starting soon screen. So let me just try to go on here and play that if I can. But yeah, thank you so much for the follow.
When I was hungry, I would say to my grandparents,
there we go.
Yeah, please.
It's official.
Bread.
And it says I followed myself, but it was just it was just to replace Fake Queen of Gaming there with your username, and that's sort of the gist. And yeah, that does play every time somebody follows my channel, and yeah, it is super cool. So I'm just a big fan of Trixie and Katya, so my channel reflects that, hopefully. But yeah, welcome. As you can hear, I have a save already loaded up. I played a little bit off stream so I could actually do the fishing minigame without the lag absolutely destroying my bait stocks, with me not being able to catch any fish on stream. And oh, hold on, I always forget to swap this back to the normal settings when I play Sky Brew at the end of streams, and last stream I did that. Here we are, here's our handsome lad, our Jack Skellington, and as you can see, it is nighttime now. And I caught all these fish. I can catch fish, it's just I need to not be streaming when I do it, because otherwise the lag just destroys my attempt at fishing. But yeah, as the title suggests, and as the YouTube description suggests, we are serving all manner of fish-based dishes, seafood dishes, all that, because it was some of the first things we served as real food here on the 12th of spring, year 1, because we're doing a rough start challenge, and because we had binned all our tools and everything. We didn't get our farm started till pretty late in the year, so the 12th of every month is when we celebrate being able to serve food, and we celebrate by serving stuff that, you know, has some of the ingredients that we were able to source from the get-go, although with, you know, a lot of difficulty, because I was still at that point trying to fish during stream, and then after a while I just gave up. I was like, I can't source fish consistently like this. We just learned sushi, the sushi recipe, last stream, so we're gonna do that. I caught some lovely gilthead bream, which is what I like to use for sushi, because look at that value, honey. 6 silver, 4 coppers for each. If you use sheep milk in your cream cheese, this is the best oily fish you can fish, so that's a little pro tip for you if you're starting to play the game and you're not sure what to go for initially. Gilthead bream, excellent fish to use in sushi. Very expensive, and we love that. So now I can actually, you know, restock my water-based chest. And yeah, and we've got some junk here that we can trade for Wilson coins at some point. Before I left for my fishing expedition, I put some rice lager on the dough, and I'm just gonna make some more. And I've been malting barley because with the help of mods, I can make my own yeast, barley is like the cheapest thing you can malt, so it's not really a big loss in terms of valuable ingredients. So that's what I use. Yeah. And we've been making sangria with blackberry and mango, as per, of course, the list of randomly selected ingredient and drinks combos right here. There was a stream that just like did not start well at all because the game kind of refused to load repeatedly because I'm playing on a prehistoric laptop. And so as I was like trying to load the game and trying and waiting, I filmed myself getting things out of this hat, which I was gonna do on stream at some point, and I thought, you know what, this must be so boring to watch, just me yapping while the loading bar is like at a snail's pace kind of filling up. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do the ingredient sorting thing now. And that's what I did. And now we have that list compiled. I do have a list of ingredients sort of like that in other saves, other like wealthier saves, but I haven't put those together randomly. I just went by, you know, what's highest value, what's the highest value recipe of this type of drinks, what's the highest value ingredient, and I tried to pair them as I go, and I try to like avoid putting watermelon and everything. So that's basically why I did that system. And you can see this is the list that I use for my other like saves, and I keep a list so that I'm not constantly like, oh wait, what was I gonna flavor this drink with, just as a memory aid basically. And yeah, I just think it helps with keeping like a variety of things in stock and like always having variety. It's not always like everything is watermelon flavored all of a sudden, you know? Yeah, I think it just kind of helps bring a little order to like storage as well in your inventory, because it's not like you have a million different recipes going with like a million different flavors and then you kind of don't know what's going on at all times. It's easier to like keep things tidy that way, because in some of my other saves I just had like tons of little leftovers of flavored this, flavored that, and yeah, it was a mess. So, and this is our cellar, and we have an unaged things chest. And yeah, we have a lot of little like leftover stacks that I need to make bigger before I put them in aging barrels. So I'll have to keep doing more of those recipes, those drink recipes. Did I make a mistake in putting the sushi roll in the thing? Because it's taking so long. It is taking so long to do that. And it's almost 2 a.m. now. And this is my grains chest. So I recently redid the kitchen. Last stream I redid the kitchen. All the VODs are on YouTube in a playlist. They're all compiled together. So you can check that out if you want. Oh yeah, we also learned rice with seafood last stream. But yeah, redid the kitchen and left room for like a double of every like crafter, at least double of everything. So at some point this stream I will be getting those. Oh man, that is not a lot of value at all for something like octopus and red king crab. But anywho, let's do that anyway. For our seafood specials day. Yes. Because it's the 12th of the month tomorrow. And the VIP's coming tomorrow as well. I know they probably fixed the bug where if you go to bed too late, he won't show up, etc. But I'm gonna put Jack to bed so that I can guarantee that I wake up early tomorrow. There we go. And that way it saves the game and everything. But yeah. I'm quite happy with the new layout of the tavern. Let me know your thoughts in the chat or in the comments if you're rewatching this on YouTube later. Oh, I've got mobile for porridge. When did I lock that? Corn, okay. And I've locked this so long ago, last stream, and just forgot to do it. I'll do the corn cobs. It's only 40 minutes, so it should be fine. That means I gotta restock my pepper. Hell yeah. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the layout as it is. Obviously, it still needs to grow bigger and stuff to be more efficient, but I like it as is. Okay, so this takes malt from rye or corn and then citral. Let's malt some rye. Hell yeah. And I need to buy more seeds to feed my chickens. And I had to put in a fuel chest because I was very lucky with queen bees this save, but I did chop a lot of trees to get them. So I ended up just having a lot of chopped wood and a lot of firewood. So, yeah, it's something I need to have to keep things organized. And here, this is gonna be the aquatic corner, but yeah, obviously it's a work in progress. Very clearly a work in progress. This is the Christmas corner, because it's a Nightmare Before Christmas themed tavern, obviously. As you can tell by the owner's name. And the tavern name, which is Pumpkin Kingdom. I'm just gonna maybe rotate this table here. So I just have a tiny bit more space to walk around here. But yeah, it's looking good so far. The reception desk is gonna go right over here. Eventually. And the cat is gonna stay here. The cat moved around a lot. It was here at some point. But yeah. Let's see if the corn cobs are done. Yes, sir. Let's see what else we can serve. Let's make more of this. I can't remember what kind of fish I put in this, though. Ooh. We could use maybe some cooked seafood or ceviche. Yeah, it's gonna be this little guy. And yes, watermelon, because there's only so many gilt-head breams, so gotta make the most of it by pairing it with the other most valuable thing you can do there. But yeah, usually I do kind of avoid the whole thing of like using watermelon for everything, but I don't cook ceviche that often, at least in this save I don't, so gotta make it extra special. Right, we're using some of our Christmas candles. Our hard-earned Christmas candles. Can't even speak right now, goddamn. But yeah, hard-earned Christmas decor here. And we'll just put the excess corn cobs here. Oh, I gotta fix this. There we go. Much better. Much better. Vegetable meat broth. I don't really want to do it, or the vegetable chorizo, but it's good point, so whatever, I'll do it. And oh yes, that's what I meant to do. Skill point time, because I forgot to use it last stream. I think I'm just gonna give myself some extra movement speed, maybe. What else we got? Beverage crafting speed. I think maybe I should just unlock this branch, though, by getting this thing, which makes you faster at pulling drinks, which is not something super important for my play style, because I do help my staff, but not all the time. Especially when I'm streaming, because every time I go into the tavern when it's full, it lags so bad. So I'm not the most useful behind the bar in this save, at least. Let's put half in there and half in here. There we go. Oh, we got a whole field of barley. Oh, wheat. Okay, cool. I got some hops here. And yes, of course, watermelon. Of course. And lots of lettuce. Lots of things like that. And our decorative sunflowers here. Love doing that. Oh. This is my shrine to Mai. And this little scene of Crispy Cracker's execution here. Just to give it that Nightmare Before Christmas creep factor. Just a touch of it. Oh no! I left the door open for my chickens. God damn, no. They'll just teleport inside if they're out. At the end of the day, they always sort of teleport inside. Amazing. Jack is so good at milking that he even does it telepathically. Because that sheep was out of there already. So I'm not sure how he did it. Okay, I think it's time for Scooter to scoot on out of here. Out of this plane of existence. Thank you, Scooter, for your service. And barley. We're gonna harvest barley. Thank you, whoever used that sound alert. Appreciate you. That always startles me every time. I'm not sure why sound alerts didn't say anything in the chat about who did that. Who did that? Thank you so much. Hey, pizza. Thank you for that, my man. Great success. Oh my god. Is it, like, still super loud for you, by the way? That sound effect? So I remember you saying, when I was, like, just doing a test stream, basically. Remember you saying that it was, like, super loud. But yeah, appreciate your pizza. Welcome back. Good, sir. No, it's fine. Good, good. Awesome. Awesome sauce. And it's time to open the tavern because the VIP is gonna be here any minute. Because it's almost 1 PM. Ah. And we still haven't completely filled the menu with water-based, ingredients-based meals. Let me just snooze this first. And I can't snooze it? No! Ah. It was saying that, okay, I think it auto-snoozed it. I think it auto-delayed the first ad, so that's good, because that's what I have it set up to do. Hey, there's our star child. Welcome, good sir. But yeah, so in 9 minutes there's gonna be an ad, and I don't have a snooze to stop it, so I'm really sorry about that. Let's see here. I'm gonna cook some cuttlefish, why not? No, I beat you to the snooze. You can snooze? That's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. I mean, you're a moderator, so for all I know, that could be a thing that moderators can do. And if so, appreciate you doing so. It helps a ton. Because every time I do anything on the OBS window on my second screen, my laptop does not like that. It does not like it, no. So, even with the best of intentions, sometimes things go a bit wrong when I intend to snooze ads for the benefit of the Twitch audience. Look at that, 3 lines of the menu. Or well, we're starting on the 3rd line of the menu now. That's good. I like that for us. Love that. Oh yeah, I was gonna move this, but I can't move it. Okay, so it does pull stuff from the chests, apparently. Or, no, it doesn't. I haven't put this away yet. I'm being dumb. That was dumb of me to think that. Let's juice all the grapes. I knew there was something else I need to put away there. But yeah, this place is looking pretty nice right now. It's looking pretty nice. Let's make some more butter. And let's actually make some more paprika as well, because we got so many bell peppers. We've got a wealth of bell peppers that we need to use. Let's do the fish and puff pastry. Let's use pike and like the good pasta dough, the rye pasta dough. Actually no, you know what? Let's use hake. It's a special occasion after all. Let's see, what else do I need to put away? Oh, this is why I was going this way. I need to put this stuff away here. It's so organized now. Everything's so organized. And I'm just gonna make this a bit bigger. I'm gonna push away this little corner further away here, but it's still gonna have this sort of shape, this sort of indent in the wall for the preserves table. I quite like that. That looks interesting. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. Let's make some more sugar. And let's keep making that paprika. Let's help our bartender here. Oh, honey flan. Excellent choice, sir. Excellent choice. Enjoy. Enjoy, good sir. Hope you're having a good time here at Pumpkin Kingdom. Just badgering the VIP. Schmoozing it. It? Oh, I mean, yeah, of course. It's a person, I know that. It's not just, you know, a sentient bag of money. That's definitely not how I see the VIP. But yeah. Nobody's touching the vanilla ale. I wonder what that's about. Let's keep making that paprika and making that sugar. I'm just gonna hit the town. I think everything's good here so far. So, yes, good job. Keep the staff in line, thank you. The bouncer like, hey man, your break's taking too long. Get back inside. That's what I like to see. But yeah. I'm just gonna see if there's a tree sapling I can buy from one of the creepy twins. I gotta buy more carrot seeds to feed my chickens. And I think I'm low on wine yeast and a few other things. And it's time to start doubling up on crafters as well. Which I'll buy at the same spot that I buy the wine yeast. So, ugh. I hate having to talk to these two. I really do. I really find them very creepy. I do not like it. I do not like what they look like. They look like the creepy twins from The Shining. You know what? I think just because I've got so much gold right now, I will buy the apple sprout. Even though we can get apples for free in the wild. This way, I don't have to leave my farm to get my apples. Yes. And I forgot to buy the carrot seeds after going on and on about having to feed my chickens. But we'll swing back around. Okay. We made 2 of these, so we don't need any of this. I think we don't really need a second cheesery for now. Haven't even seen The Shining. I haven't either. It's just so, like, out there in the media. And all the references and stuff. You know, I keep seeing it. Because it's so, like, memorable. There's so many memes around it and stuff. And clips and everything that people use so much. So, I've just been so aware of its existence, you know? It's just, I get it, it's a classic movie, whatever, but, I've heard the director, even though it's, like, a really established director and, like, really iconic director, he was really, really shitty and really cruel to the main actress, so I cannot get behind that at all. I don't think you need to torture people psychologically to get the best performance out of them, so I think that's really shitty. So yeah, that's my opinion on it, but yeah, other than that, I've never watched it, so I just know that it's like based on a Stephen King novel and it's got a lot of iconic things and stuff. I probably have about 5 million things I still need to watch. Yeah, I kind of feel like that sometimes. Oh, by the way, ads starting in like 10 seconds if you're on Twitch. Just to let you know. Sorry about like the late warning. 3, 2, 1, and now I'm seeing ads starting soon for like an hour. But yeah. Sorry about having ads. It's just kind of something I can't fully turn off ever for some reason. Twitch won't allow me. Ads are for peasants. That's not nice, pizza. Okay? Gosh. What a terrible example you're gonna be for your subscription child. What a stupid joke, by the way. Because of a 9-month plus sub. Oh, you are with child. You should think about the future of your baby and your the baby that you're expecting now. You're just constantly I should never be a father. Oh, that's not a nice thing to say about yourself, but I do relate to that. Though, I hope I never become a mother because I would not have the patience. So I do get that. I have been a youth support worker before as like a part-time job, not even a full-time job. And that was chill, but I was like terrified. Before I started, I was like, oh my god, will the kids respect me? Will they be little shits? I don't know. They're teens. I'm terrified of having to interact with teens I don't know. And I just had this like idea of like, you know, what if they're like really like what if they have like terrible manners and like and terrible attitude and stuff. But they were so cool. They were just the nicest kids to deal with, and they were just super chill. You just had to be there to like supervise them in that community space and like make sure that everything's clean and safe and like warm enough for them, and like make sure that they don't like hurt themselves or don't like have too much conflict with each other. But they were so chill, and they had such a good group dynamic that it was just like the easiest job I had was looking after those kids. They were absolutely brilliant, and they were like super interesting to talk to. Like they weren't little shits at all. So sometimes there were these other kids that would have like, there was like this metal gate that we would close almost all the way to like have them have like their private session. It was like a community thing, but you had to like sign up for it because it was for youths who didn't super get along with their peer group at their school or whatever, or they'd be like neurodivergent, or maybe they're kids who are trans or non-binary, or have something about them that makes them not super comfortable dealing with their peers, so they'd have that community space to just have a safe space to like do whatever they want. They'd run like D&D sessions and stuff as well sometimes. And so that's why it was like a space that was in a mall, but it was like closed off from the public. Like only people who signed up for it could join. And sometimes there'd be these other kids, these other teens that would show up in a group, and they'd all be wearing like black tracksuits and like hoodies, and they'd just be standing around in front of that metal divider looking in, and like sometimes they'd bang on it, sometimes they'd like start like yelling or whatever, and I'd have to approach them like and be like, hey guys, you can't just be standing around here, and you have to go away, like the session is not for you guys. So, and like I would just have to like scare them off, which was interesting. It was an interesting mix of like being like the cool adult and like, you know, just taking care of these kids and like keeping them safe, but also having to be like this scary authoritative adult and being like, hey, you can't be here, when these other kids would come and try to like basically annoy the kids in our little group. And yeah, and that was kind of fun, but it was also kind of intimidating having to do that, but honestly kind of fun having to scare, you know, angry or otherwise annoying teens away to keep another different group of teens safe from them. It was a tough balance, but it was weird that they would do that. They would do that fairly regularly. I don't know what was up with that group of youths, but yeah. And they would just all be dressing like super similar. It was so weird. But yeah. But honestly, one of the easiest jobs I ever had, a youth support worker. I remember one afternoon we just played Mario Kart 8 on the Wii. It was super fun. I was like, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this. This is awesome. But yeah. Sorry, Pizza. I will read your chats now. Anytime I hear kids cry in like a restaurant, I just want to kick them. That is valid. I've just been speaking at length about my job dealing with youths, but that is like, whenever I'm flying or in a public space, yeah, like a restaurant, and there's a baby crying or a kid crying, I'm just like, I want to teleport out of here so bad. The kind of person who would be willing to have kids with me would probably have a few screws loose themselves. I then imagine myself between age 12-20, combined with another lunatic. The chances of this child not becoming a serial killer aren't looking good. Is this you still being like, I shouldn't be a father? But you're like such a nice, chill person. Like, I think you'd probably do well. I don't know. I don't want to say that because I think of my skills and my aptitude to like interact with little kids, and I'm like, I don't know how to get them to respect me at all, and I don't know how to like discipline them when they like do stuff they shouldn't be doing and stuff, so I really don't know. And I really don't want to know. I don't want to be a mom ever. That's not something I've ever had an interest in, ever. Since I was 4 years old, I've been telling people I'm never getting married and I'm never having kids, and then people would laugh, and then I grew older and older and older and still would keep the same position, and people thought it was less and less funny as time went on. You know, curious how that works, but yeah. Because people kept saying, oh, you'll change your mind later. I hate it when people say that. Like, girl, mind your business, you know? Like, you don't know that for sure. So it's kind of, I think it's a stupid thing to say to people. Honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with not wanting to be responsible for another human being's well-being for like years on end. Like every single day. Are you kidding me? I would shit myself if I had to be responsible for another human being. Like every single day of my life. It's just too much responsibility, I think. I have barely got my own stuff together, so no thank you. But I don't know. I wouldn't say that if I raised a child, the chances of them becoming a serial killer would be low. That's an insane thing to say. And I don't know. You seem like a cool person and like a really smart person, so I don't know how true that would be. And that's not me just trying to be nice about you. Like, I just think every time we've interacted, you've been fine. I think that child would probably turn out fine, you know? But, you know, I get that it is intimidating to think about that stuff. I certainly, I know I wouldn't be a good mom. That's all I'm gonna say. Have you ever seen the Dr. Phil interview with Jeffrey Dahmer's father? What is that sentence? I didn't even know that was a thing that Dr. Phil did. I didn't even know that Jeffrey Dahmer's dad was still like around, living. That's crazy. No, I've never watched that. That's where I imagine myself in 30 years if I had children. That's a crazy thing to say about yourself. Come on, pizza. That's just crazy. Have a little bit of faith in yourself, my guy. I refuse to believe that. I don't think you would do that bad of a job. Come on. That's so mean to say about yourself. But I've never seen that. I didn't even know that was a thing that happened in this crazy world we live in. Dr. Phil, not the first person I would think of to interview a serial killer's dad. This is a while ago. I think his father died a few years ago. Yeah, I kind of forget that serial killers have families sometimes. Like, it just seems like weird that a person with like a normal family would then go and be a complete fucking lunatic and a complete menace to society. What joyful subjects we're talking about today on the stream. Very unusual. But yeah, I don't consume like a lot of like true crime stuff, so I'm just like not sure what people see in like how to explain this. I don't really understand the obsession that some people have with, like, the stories behind some heinous, you know, shit that some people have done. I just do not understand that level of, like, wanting to know more about this person. Some people, like, straight up fall into these, like, parasocial relationships with people in prison who have done horrible things. That could not be me. Could not be me. Like, at all. I do not understand that at all. Absolutely not. Like, it's just weird. I think it's just weird, man. But yeah. I'm gonna do some fish tacos here for my customers. I don't know, it depends a lot on who's telling the story and what parts they focus on. I suppose that is true. I like things like creepypastas and stuff when it's people like the guys from the Red Thread and like Creepcast, you know, when Dagoon and Papa meet. Love those guys' readings of it. I went through Dr. Maxwell's playlist of SCP readings recently. That was really fun to listen to while playing League or something. But like watching a Netflix documentary about true crime, I just could not do that. I don't know. I just think it's weird, like, giving so much attention to people who have already exerted such, like, negative influence over specific people, you know? But I get what you mean about, like, what parts they focus on. I feel like if you focus some of your attention on, like, the victims and stuff, I think that's good, because usually, like I say, like, people just give too much attention to these assholes, these maniacs, you know? And then, you know, you don't really think about the victims so much, you don't talk about how stuff's affected them. And then there's people like Alex Jones who just straight up say that, you know, kids who have died in a school shooting were all actors and crazy shit like this, and that their parents are grief actors, whatever the fuck he said. Like, I have no patience for people like that. Like, what a wild thing to say. What a disgusting, wild thing to be spreading out there. Bro, Alex Jones, gay frogs! Yeah, that guy. Good lord, I hope he spends the rest of his life under a prison for what he did to the Sandy Hook families. Like, those families must have suffered so much because of this guy. And for what? For views, for clicks, to, like, shell his, to shill his, like, multivitamins or whatever the fuck, steroid, protein powder, whatever the fuck he sells, to the people who watch him. That's crazy. What a crazy thing to do. Yeah. He should be under a prison, that guy. He just, yeah. He says some wild things, and the things he say really do a lot of harm to a lot of communities, like the gay community. Like, what the hell, man? You can be an annoying, like, hysterical bastard without bringing gay people into your shit, you know? His male vitality pills, yeah, that kind of shit that he sells to insecure men, like, cause that's really what he's preying on, is people's insecurities about themselves, and this stupid made up idea that, you know, to be masculine you need to be a certain way, and you need to look a certain way. Like, that's all horse shit, absolute horse shit. You know, you just have to be you know, authentically, and just be secure in yourself. And you don't have to harm others around you, or say harmful shit about people around you who you maybe don't know anything about, you know? But he would rather be screaming his lungs out, "They're turning the freaking frogs gay!" Like, his eyes, like, bulging out of his, like, skull and everything. Like, for what? Like, you could just fucking relax, you know? God. But that, no wonder he's, like, memed to hell and back. Like, he just does the most stupid shit imaginable. Just for no reason at all, other than, like, being super outrageous, I guess, and, like, I don't know. I don't know why certain people do what they do. I know that I'm gonna do some cooking for my customers here in my little relaxing little game. And I'm gonna check on my things in my cellar. And I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not saying any harmful shit about anybody who doesn't deserve it. Because I think if you say the heinous shit that Alex Jones has said to people and about other people that don't concern him, he deserves to be talked about. I'm sorry. Nah, you're wrong. The only reason you believe this is because the deep state brainwashed you through chemtrails. Tom Hanks is laughing all the way to his fridge full of adrenochrome. Oh my god, you actually know the talking points? That's crazy, man. But yeah, doesn't all of that sound like the type of mumbo-jumbo that people put in movies when they want a character to sound like they know about science, but the writers don't know the first thing about science, so they just put in, like, the most, like, made-up sounding words, you know? But yeah. That's so crazy. And then you get people, like, making awful rumors about people who are going through it just because they're famous, like what happened with Jamie Foxx. I didn't even know people were saying this, it's just he mentioned it in his new special after he came out of hospital, because he had a stroke or something similar. And he was in hospital for a while, and in his, like, comeback special, he mentioned people were saying he was a clone and all this shit, you know, after he had to do, like, rehabilitation and stuff, like physiotherapy and stuff like that. And after he came back and was, like, healthy, people would, like, look at him in the street and be like, that's not Jamie Foxx, that's a fucking clone. And stuff like that. And, like, what are you on right now? How can you believe that kind of horse shit? That's crazy. You know? But it's when people don't find, like, a satisfying explanation for why bad things happen to good people, and you know, why sometimes medicine works. You know, just imagine that. Sometimes medical professionals are able to help people get back on their feet after they've gone through a horrible health, you know, crisis. And yeah, people can go through awful stuff that sometimes doctors can't even diagnose, because Cat Williams was also being like, oh, Jamie Foxx, they say he has a mystery illness and stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, doctors don't always know what's wrong with you, but they will kind of look at the symptoms and they will know what to do to help you. Anyway, that's their job. It doesn't mean that they know everything there is to know. So yeah, sometimes they say it's a mystery illness. Or maybe he wanted to keep his privacy and didn't want to talk about what exactly he was going through. So, you know, mystery illness is sometimes just to protect people's medical information, right? On social media or whatever. But, oh man, just the wildest things that people believe in sometimes. And it's because of, you know, people like Alex Jones and people like that. I think. And like Andrew Tate and other dirtbags like that. I think they're dirtbags, absolutely they are. Because they just, like, use their platform and they use their audience just to enrich themselves, and they don't really add anything to the world, anything positive. They don't really contribute anything positive in any way. And they just really do see people as just a means to an end, I think. Yeah, I watched the Joe Rogan podcast with Alex Jones a few years ago. As long as you don't believe anything he says, it's kind of enjoyable. They just get drunk and stoned while talking about aliens and crying about his dreams. You say all this fake, but please explain to me why Barack Obama needed all those hot dogs. What the fuck are you talking about? Hot dogs? What are we talking about even? I don't even know. I don't even know what you're saying right now. Bro, the fact that people listen to people like Andrew Tate and Logan Paul will always be insane to me. One of them brags about a word that I definitely can't say on YouTube, and the other brags about scamming people. Such great role models. Wait, you don't remember Pizzagate? I do. I always thought Pizzagate was about something else, about that Reddit vigilantism against like a pizza place that was really weird and people thought some weird shit was going. No, wait, no. What am I thinking about? Oh, that weird like daycare that people would start like ordering pizzas to and stuff. I don't know. I thought it was like a Reddit thing. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't remember what Pizzagate was about. I just remember kind of hearing about it. It could very well be that maybe it happened while I was like in hospital recovering from an episode and I missed a lot of shit. That I'm sure that has happened many times before. But yeah. But no, I don't remember what Pizzagate was about. Sadly, I'm sure. Am I gonna be able to walk around here? Oh my god. Yeah, I am. Doesn't this look just lovely? I know I was yapping a lot about unrelated things, but I was, you know, I was doing my thing. Laying out my tavern. Doesn't it look gorgeous now? Kind of symmetrical, kind of beautiful. Very mindful, very demure. See, that's a meme that I love because it's so positive and wholesome. I wish everybody could get famous because of saying things like that, you know? That don't harm anybody, that don't throw anybody else under the bus. And it's just a good time. And that's fine. It's fine to do things like that and go viral with things like that. Why couldn't every meme out there be like that? You know? Pizzagate. Oh my god, dude. That is an essay. Pizzagate was a conspiracy theory about Barack Obama, Tom Hanks, and Oprah having like 10,000 hot dogs in the basement of a pizza place. Hot dogs was code for oh my god, no. And it was to extract their adrenochrome to live forever, something stupid like that. So basically they accused Tom Hanks, Oprah, and Obama of like having a kind of a weird cult. Almost. Like a weird sacrificial cult, it sounds like. It's been a while, so I don't remember every detail, but it was so stupid. It sure does sound stupid. It sounds like something out of an SCP story, which I now kind of can identify when something sounds like an SCP story, because I've been listening to so many of them. Yeah, I have no idea why these people think Tom Hanks is part of the deep state. I'm not even fully sure what deep state means. Is that like the people who are in government and who stay in government no matter what the president is, no matter who's president? I always thought it was something like that, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I'm not sure what people are talking about when they say deep state. I'm gonna be so for real. I just want to play relaxing games like this or stupid games like League, because that is a stupid game, because it's a very toxic community and I hate myself for playing it and I hate myself when I play it. So I think League is so bad for your mental health, and I say that as an avid League player. You know, even when I go onto the most casual game mode there is, like RM, you know, all random, all mid, or some like temporary game mode that they put out just temporarily, just as a featured game mode, like where everything's supposed to be casual. Even then, people are like flaming, doing all this. It's like, girl, relax, you know? Christ, we're here to have fun, and it's so impossible to do when you're on the same team as some people who just are so toxic. Just relax, you know? Jeez. But yeah, I just want to play games like this, which are relaxing and fun and wholesome and absolutely chill, and have a great community behind them, or stupid, awful, for my mental health, games like League, who have a horrible, toxic community that I hate interacting with and having anything to do with, and don't identify with at all. And I just want to live my life in peace, you know? I try not to listen to awful people saying awful things, and I try not to pay them any mind, but there's so many of them, and they're always the ones going viral, you know, like Andrew Tate and all those people. Yeah, it's awful. You kind of have to try so hard to ignore them sometimes, because yeah, they're like everywhere, it seems like. I'm just gonna put half of this here, maybe. No, actually I'm not. I'm gonna put half of this in the menu. But yeah, look at that! We've doubled almost everything up. It's looking like a real industrial kitchen now. I still have to figure out where to put the grinders. A little bit better. Still have to figure out a little bit better where to put them. Okay, this might be a little bit better in terms of flow. In terms of the... oh, yeah, I still get, like, stopped right here when I turn this corner. It's a bit better. You gotta consider movement when you're designing your kitchens, but I'm not amazing at it, I will say. What was I even talking about? We were talking about awful people that are hard to ignore, right? Yeah, I really don't know why people listen to them so fiercely. And not only that, but some people base their whole personalities around awful people like that, like Tate and Rogan and people like that. And Rogan wasn't even like the worst out of the bunch for a long time, but then he just started saying some crazy shit as well. It's like, come on now. I'm pretty sure Deep State is pretty much like the Illuminati. Oh, okay. So again, like some made up shit, because I don't really think that stuff holds much water, I'm gonna be honest. The whole Illuminati thing, I don't think is actually a thing. The only actual secret societies still existent today aren't really that secret, so that tells you how effective it is to try and keep something really huge like that out of the public eye. For some reason, I do find conspiracy theories fascinating. Oh, me too. Like, I love watching commentary videos making fun of conspiracy theories. I love watching the Reddit thread where they, like, talk about it, and talk about the lore, and then, they will usually take, like, different positions on it, one of them will like believe it staunchly and will be like positive about it, but like as a bit, as a comedy bit, obviously, because it's for entertainment. Another one will be like, oh no, this is BS, this is not real. And then someone else will probably be like somewhere in between, or will just be like, oh yeah, now I believe it, but I think we should, you know, destroy the Mothman. And then the other one will be like, oh no, I think we have to defend him. I think he's like a patron saint of bridges, whatever the fuck. I think Mothman is like a cryptid that like is associated with like bridge disasters, and like he's like trying to warn people about bridge disasters or causing them, no one knows, something like that. But that's fun. Like stuff like that is fun and goofy and adds whimsy to our lives. But then there's like other conspiracy theories which I find fascinating, but I also think are like quite harmful to some groups of people, and that's not as fun. But it's good to be aware of, I guess. You know, it's good to be aware that some people believe crazy shit. 99% of them make no sense at all, but it's interesting. Yeah, I find that as well. If you ever need to find out if someone believes in conspiracy theories, just ask them about Tower 7. I don't know what that is, and I don't want to know what that is. I feel like that's about 9/11, maybe. Tower 7? That sounds like something related to 9/11. I don't know. My mom super believes in certain conspiracy theories, and she'll tell me about them sometimes. Even when I'm like, hey, don't talk about that shit to me. Not in that way, like you firmly believe it, because you are aware that I have bipolar and that I tend to get paranoid about stuff, so maybe don't. You know, like the worst thing you could do as a parent of somebody with bipolar is start yapping about conspiracy theories like you believe they're true. Cause yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna talk ill of my mother. She's very supportive, but she's also sometimes, you know, a believer of conspiracy theories. Like, she believes we never landed on the moon. For a long time, she believed that, like, Michael Jackson was still alive, and I think she was just in denial because it was, like, one of her favorite artists. Unfortunate, I know, with all the rumors and shit, but, you know, she grew up listening to him, so I guess there is that, like, conflicting thing of, like, oh, it's one of my favorite artists, I admire them so much, but also this stuff about them might be true, allegedly. So, I get that, you know. That sucks. I'm getting more and more used to having comedians that I looked up to and that I was a fan of be ripped from me, as it were, you know, metaphorically, because I feel disgusting listening to their material now, because they're discussing people on a moral level. So, you know, it's just, that's life. Basically, I'm just like, hey, it's a part of life. Sometimes the people you look up to or are a fan of their work, sometimes they turn out to be a piece of shit, and that's just life. And that's just how you have to look at it. But it is sad. And it's not fun when you've, like, spent most of your life, like, watching their comedy specials and, you know, watching clips of their material online and doing impressions of them, whatever, and, like, just being like, oh man, this person's so funny, and when I watch their stuff, I feel so good because it is fun to watch, and it's like, wow, this person's so talented at what they do. And then, you know, years later, oh, by the way, they did this heinous thing in front of another person that is maybe one of their peers, and then they threatened to destroy their career if they told anyone. Oh, how fun! You know? Or, oh, turns out they're a groomer. You know, like, it's just getting to a point where I'm like, even if I discover a new comedian or something, I always have it at the back of my mind, like, they could be a piece of shit, though. So, you know, it just takes a little bit away from the experience of enjoying comedy. Stand-up comedy, specifically. But, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so passionate about it because I love stand-up comedy. But so many stand-up comedians have been exposed as just awful, creepy, disgusting people. So, I'm just, it's just sad that is just a fact of life that I have to get used to. What does my mom think about the JFK assassination? I don't know. I'm not sure. I never talked to her about it, even though she is an English teacher, so I'm sure she should kind of know some about it, but I don't know. I honestly don't know. Obviously, like, because it's something to do with America, she probably does know stuff about it, because she has lived in America, even, or she's done, like, some exchange, in America. I don't know, like, sometimes your parents' youth, you know details about it, but you're, like, unsure about stuff. But I do know that she has an American friend, like one of her best friends. And so I know she must have gone to America a few times. But yeah, like, I don't know all the details about it, but I think she lived in America for a time. Like, she lived here, she lived there, she lived everywhere. So I don't know. So she must know about it and must have, like, a strong opinion about it, but I don't know. That is something I will ask her about when I'm in a good mental place and not in a place where I'll be susceptible to getting paranoid about stuff. Cause, yeah, it's just something I have to be aware of with my mental health condition, that sometimes, you know, I don't know what certain triggers might be for an episode. And yeah. Sometimes there's other stuff going on that also affect it, on top of whatever else life throws at you, you know? So, maybe when I'm, like, in a place where I'm, like, really secure in my mental health, and I'm, like, in a situation where I'm, like, you know, maybe I'm at home, maybe she's just visiting me in my adoptive hometown, maybe we're out, you know, and my partner's around, and I'm just, like, in a good, chill situation, maybe I will ask her about it. But if I'm, like, in my family home, you know, surrounded by memories that bring me a lot of weird emotions like grief and stuff, and past trauma and stuff like that, because unfortunately there's always a mix of that stuff in my family home, because I'm not gonna go too much into it in detail, but basically my sister is a bitch, and she was a bitch to me in my family home, so every time I go there, it's not a great time. So that wouldn't be a good time to, like, ask my mom about if I was just in my family home visiting her, for instance, because I might get ill, and I don't want to get stuck in Portugal in a hospital again, like last year. When stuff happened, I had an episode while alone in my family home, and some of my family, distant family, tried to help by taking me to the hospital. I was transferred to a hospital 1 hour away. Fun. And I got stuck there for a month, and yeah, I lost my job because of it. It was a whole thing. So I'm trying to not have any of that happen again. So if I ever talk about that stuff with my mom, it'll have to be when I'm in a very good place mentally. Because, yeah, should be an interesting conversation. Oh, for sure. I'm sure my mom has an opinion on it, because she has an opinion on the moon landing and stuff, and that was, like, similar times, you know? It was the 60s, so... And, you know, JFK was the president who, like, spearheaded that whole effort, so... I'm sure she probably has an opinion on it. But yeah, not something I want to talk about when I'm maybe in a more vulnerable headspace. But I'll ask her about it and I'll report back. At some point, I will ask her about it. Yeah, understandable. I know, right? Man, you see, you get it. Yeah. my mom doesn't get why I don't want her to talk about that shit with me. But yeah, she's always had some trouble respecting some of my boundaries, so. Not in like a truly awful way, but like, I mentioned my relationship with my sister, and one of the reasons I got ill last year was because right before I flew to Portugal, she asked me if I wanted my sister to pick me up from the airport, and I was under the impression that she had communicated with my sister to make sure that she was not going to be around whilst I visited. Because I'm straight up scared of my own older sister. Very sad, but true. And I think my mom is in denial about all that, and she thinks that one day our relationship will like mend, and she just has a very rose-colored glasses way of looking at the situation, because she just wasn't present in person when everything happened. You know, whatever it was that happened, we don't need to go into it, but I'm just like not I just don't have a relationship with my sister anymore because she did something very objectionable, and I just don't feel safe around her, basically. And it doesn't have to be something horrible for that to happen, but yeah, she was just very aggressive and awful, and it doesn't matter what she did, but yeah, it's just not something you can sort of come back from, because it was an awful betrayal, basically. Betrayal of trust and everything. So yeah, my mom thought it was totally fine if she went to pick me up from the airport, and this was like the night before I flew that she thought to say this to me, and I freaked out, had a panic attack at my job because I was at work when I got my mom's messages about it. Had a horrible panic attack at work, which is not the best place to have one. Almost directly quoting Bo Burnham here, panic attacks, but yeah. Work, not a great place to have a panic attack in general. There was a well-being champion at work that was absolutely amazing, got me through all that, and she asked, do you really need to go on this trip? And I really did, because I was visiting family. I was visiting specifically an uncle who was not doing great in terms of his health, so I was like a woman on a mission. And yeah, and I went home anyways, terrified that my sister was gonna be there, because I just, you know, my mom had told me, okay, I booked her in a hotel, she's gonna be out of the house, it's fine, she won't pick you up. And I made plans with a friend of mine for her to pick me up from the airport, because I was scared that my sister was gonna be there. And I sure did have a panic attack that whole entire day of my flight, after not sleeping. And I was just in panic attack mode the whole day, the whole flight, you know, everything, because I was just terrified that I would bump into my sister all of a sudden. So yeah, it was not a good time at all. But yeah, it just goes to show that like my mom doesn't always listen to me when I ask her, you know, very valid things. So of course she's not gonna, you know, she's not always gonna be like respectful of me not wanting to hear about stupid conspiracy theories, because she doesn't always respect even more like higher priority things, if that makes sense. Yeah, sorry, my god. Sorry about talking about all this shit that's very depressing, but it's just something real that happened, and it's a real, I think, valid reason for me to not always be like, oh yeah, my mom will understand this about this very specific thing I don't want her to do, or that I want her to avoid talking about, or whatever. she just does not respect that sometimes, okay? I just don't want it to look like she's a horrible person. She's not. She's absolutely lovely, but it's just certain things she doesn't understand about boundaries like that, when it's like really specific things. And that's the only reason I brought this up. And then I went into a tirade about it, and I'm so sorry. But yeah, this just to say that yes, my mom believes in certain conspiracy theories, and yes, sometimes she's not great about avoiding talking about them, even if talking about them will be like awful for my mental health. So yeah, a colleague. I'm just gonna get back to reading the chat and moving on from this. A colleague at my old job once started talking about her theories on JFK. It was wild. Yeah. I am moving on from like all the stuff I talked about, but yeah, my mom will sometimes she would sometimes be giving me a lift from uni and would just randomly spout out some random news story about a tragedy that she heard recently. I'm like, do you really have to mention that? For like no reason. Cool. Yeah, work sounds like one of the worst places for that. Yeah, it definitely is. I think the worst place to have a panic attack is at work, but yeah, the people at my job handled it, really well. It's just the middleman company between me and that place of work. They were like, oh, you're gonna be in hospital for you don't even know how long? Okay, well then, you're fired. And I was in hospital and I was thinking that my job was secure because of what they were discussing with my partner during the like absence process thing. Absence, notification process. So I was talking to my partner on the phone sometimes, and he was like, yeah, they said you were suspended because you're not going to be able to take calls, but you're still going to have a job when you come back. And then when I finally got to check my emails, after I got out of hospital, yeah, they had ended my assignment, which means they had fired me. But yeah, it was not fun, and I haven't gotten my job back or haven't gotten a new job since, and it's been now over a year, unfortunately, but I'm trying to look for a new one, and as soon as I have a new job, I will buy myself a proper desktop computer, because I'm so tired of not being able to play certain games, not being able to play games of like the highest quality, etc. And not being able to stream, properly, if that makes sense. It's kind of frustrating as well. So, anyways, yeah, new PC goal. That's the goal for this year, definitely. I think I've gone through enough shit that I deserve something like this to make me happy and to have like a proper creative outlet, because really that's the main reason why I stream, is because it's a good creative outlet. It's a good outlet for scratching that performance itch, I'm basically a theater kid. Pretty much. I was in a dramatic society when I was at uni, so like a theatrical society, basically like a student theater club, and I loved that, loved every minute of it, and I miss it dearly. So streaming is kind of a good outlet for that, for me at least. But yeah. It kind of sucks not being able to do it to the best of my ability and without so many like technical constraints and stuff. For instance, like this game lags a lot, and it could partially because it's still in early access, still needs to be optimized and stuff, but I know it's partially also because my laptop fucking sucks. Yeah, I think a more powerful computer would certainly help with that. And I wouldn't have to do the mini game, you know, for fishing off stream anymore. I could just, you know, do the fishing part of this game on stream, you know, as our Lord intended, so to speak. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there at some point, I'm sure. Anyway, Pizza, thanks so much for, you know, sticking around through this, like, tirade about all this stuff. And thank you, anybody else who might be watching, for sticking around through this. I don't often talk about, like, real life problems and stuff, but somehow, because of talking about conspiracy theories and imagining what a conversation would be like with my mom about the JFK situation, assassination. Yeah, we got into this topic of, like, mental health and stuff, and what happened to me last year that made it so I'm now unemployed and stuff like that. But yeah. Thanks so much for being so understanding, Pizza, first of all. And yeah, talking about it does help, but it also kind of brings back memories of stuff. So it helps to some degree, and then it starts not helping. Because, you know, thinking about it too much is not, it's not good. So as long as, like, I don't talk about it too much, it's fine. So. But yeah, sometimes my brain will be like, "Oh, what's that? You're trying to sleep? No, but I wanted to have flashbacks of all this shit that happened to you. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be so fun?" And yeah, it's always when you're trying to sleep, man. Why do brains work like that, you know? Always when you're trying to sleep, your brain like, oh, but what if you thought about this awful thing that happened to you years ago, or this embarrassing thing you did years ago? Wouldn't that be so much better than falling asleep right now? I love that for you. Let's think about it for the next hour instead of falling asleep. Oh, you know? I very much relate to that. Yeah, I think, it's called ruminating. I think it's one of the things. It's also kind of a symptom of PTSD if you have it. That's one of the things I've got now, thanks to my older sister. Yeah, and I used to have that in my family home where I was living at some point, and that's why I don't live there anymore. Because, yeah, it's not fun. That being a feature of your living situation, you know, it being like a mental trigger. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, sir. Please come back. Oh, I hate closing the bar just when somebody's about to approach the counter. I'm kidding. I secretly love it. But yeah, it wasn't fun going through that. Not fun at all. Wouldn't recommend that at all. And yeah, I think part of it causes, like, ruminating thoughts before sleep. I think a lot of neurodivergent people also have that, which is probably why my therapist some years ago, well, probably one of the reasons why, she asked, I know we're here, like, talking about to like your past trauma and like you're trying to manage your bipolar and stuff, but have you ever considered the possibility, and don't be taken aback by this, don't be offended. And I was like, oh gosh, what's brewing in the horizon? She was like, have you ever considered that you might have autism or ADHD? Have you ever like tested for that? I was like, I don't know. I mean, I kind of suspect that you're gonna say that I have some characteristics like that, and she's started listing some things that I do that can be indicative that I either have autism or ADHD. And then the session after that, I took like an informal test for it, and I scored kind of high for ADHD, and I kind of consciously answered things to skew it so it didn't give me a super high score for autism, but there was still a score. And I was like, well, a lot of this doesn't apply to me, but then I was like, I know that there's a lot of stuff that I have in common with a friend of mine who has autism though, so still could be that though. And yeah, she said that I should get tested for ADHD, but unfortunately it's super difficult to get tested for by the NHS. Probably especially in England where I was living at the time. Oh motherfuck, I completely ignored the ingredient in this order. God, I'm gonna have to cook that again. Yeah, basically, she said I should get tested for those things, but it's really tough to be diagnosed with ADHD specifically as an adult. She said, and I quote, the NHS just doesn't take it seriously in this country, unfortunately. I said, oh boy, isn't that fun for me. Yay. Because I love having to deal with the NHS when it's time to do something that they super don't want to do. Love that. But yeah. Unfortunately, apparently they don't really take it that seriously. But yeah. At some point, I will, I guess. You know? It's one of those things where you need to test for this illness that affects certain parts of your behavior, but those certain parts of your behavior that get affected do impact your ability to take steps towards getting a diagnosis for that specific thing that you're testing for. So it's very much like a chicken and the egg situation, you know? Oh gosh, and I forgot to give people a heads up about that. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, that thing where you're just going to bed and suddenly you remember every bad choice you ever made and some embarrassing moment that only you will remember. Yes, my brain does that a lot. That ruminating thought kind of tirade, yeah. That was definitely probably one of the things that flagged it as me having ADHD, because I think it's a very like ADHD thing to do. It's a very like autistic coded thing to do as well. And I'm guessing bipolar as well. I don't know. I think I've pretty much got the trifecta there with bipolar and like anxiety disorder and PTSD. It definitely doesn't help that shit, probably. But yeah, I think autism and ADHD kind of are two things that make your brain do that a lot, unfortunately, as well. So, you know, my therapist was just doing her job, you know, keeping her eyes peeled for anything else that might explain certain behaviors. Just, you know, that's what therapists are meant to do. But yeah. The autism test is the only test I've ever passed with flying colors. Pizza, that is a really funny way to say that. Bless you. You know, I think over the years, some of my best friends have been people that are autistic. And I used to say people with autism, but apparently that is the wrong way to say that. And I learned that when I was training for a care position. So I'm gonna go with that training because it seemed to be written by people who know what they're talking about. So if anybody is offended by how I say it, just know that I don't mean to say autistic as an insult. You shouldn't use it as an insult. It's a dumb thing if you do that. It's definitely a stupid thing to do. And unfortunately people do that. But yeah, I don't mean it as an insult. I mean it as like a medical term and like a sociological term to say people that have a different way of interacting with the world and seeing the world, and that's what autism is. The way that it was explained to me. And I'll always remember that, and I'll always remember the way that they explained it as well, as like an analogy with an operating system for a computer. Like your brain is one of the most complex computers there is, right? Is a way to see it. And the way they explained it was that it's like when you're autistic, you just have a different operating system than other people, other non neurodivergent people or neurotypical people, whatever, however you say it. And it's not about trying to change the autistic person's behavior to fit some predetermined thing that we think about how people should behave. It's about adapting your way of dealing with autistic people and adapting certain situations so that they're more comfortable and so that it's easier for them to interact with the world and with other people. Of course, I learned this in like a setting where it was super important for us to be aware of, you know, people on the spectrum who were like quite severely impacted by autism, like, and people who had on top of that learning disabilities. So yeah, it was a you know, very different situation in which I learned this, but I'll just always remember that as like the main thing about autism is just it's not an illness, not something you need to fix regarding someone else. It's just a different way of operating completely. And I don't know if you would agree with that, Pizza, but that's how it was explained to me. I don't know how you feel about that explanation. I would actually love to hear your opinion about it, because it sure did help me see things very differently. Because growing up and just, you know, through all the stuff that, you know, there's out there in the media and stuff, in media, it always was represented as like this sort of mental health condition or all these other things that it is not about. And so that was really important moment for me in terms of being able to change my perception of it. Don't worry about it. I've called it much worse things. Oh, so that's why all Linux users have autism. Pizza, that's really funny. I only think that's funny because I know you're autistic and you are allowed to say things like that about autism. And you don't mean it in a like horrible way. But that's pretty funny. I mean, I have a friend who's autistic and he's not very IT savvy, so he doesn't use Linux. But that would be pretty funny if that were the case. But yeah, essentially that's how it was explained to me. It's just it's like everybody else is, or most people, shall we say, who are neurotypical, as they call it, as some people call it. You know, they're like on Windows. You know, their brains have Windows or whatever. Apple, ugh, gross. disgusting. Not me. Wouldn't be me. But people with autism, or autistic people, they made it very clear that that's how you should say it. Apologies. They have like Apple or, you know, Linux. That's a good one because it's like not super common, I guess. But yeah, and you wouldn't try to like install something that's made for Windows. You wouldn't install it on Apple. So why would you expect an autistic person to act a certain way just because it's like the norm? You know, that's kind of like how they try to illustrate it. And I think it's kind of effective to explain it that way. It kind of drives home the point of like you can't really change someone's behavior that is like such a big part of what makes them unique and what makes them themselves, and that they can't control. And you know, I can't control the fact that I'm bipolar, but I can control certain symptoms through, you know, medication and therapy and certain other, you know, tools. But me having bipolar, that's not something I can control. But it's just not the same because yeah, autism is just something more intrinsic to how you operate. And bipolar isn't. It's just something that's sort of separate from your personality and kind of it just is an illness. It's genetic, unfortunately. So we like my family, we think that I have it because my dad had it, or we suspect that he had it. Not sure because he was never formally diagnosed because you know, in the past people weren't that great at diagnosing mental illness, so a lot of people went undiagnosed for many generations. And that's why there's this perception that now a lot more people are having mental health issues. But it could very well be that now we just actually have a way of identifying them and helping people with those issues and diagnosing them, and we have a name for things. When before, you know, sometimes people would show symptoms of mental illness and they would be called a witch, or, you know, they would get shunned by their community because people would start saying they were possessed or whatever the fuck. And now we know better, you know? And now we actually have like language to talk about stuff in a helpful way that doesn't shut people out and stuff. And that's ultimately a good thing. But there are boomers who are like, oh, nowadays everybody's got a support dog and a support, you know, parrot and whatever. And they're just use it as an excuse to get their pets on a plane. And like, yeah, some people, I'm sure, you know, game the system to bring their pets on a plane, whatever. But you can't just assume that just because a few people do it in a disingenuous and selfish way, that like everybody who says they have a mental illness suddenly are awful for just acknowledging something that's wrong with their mental health. I don't think it is like a thing that people have more issues like that or make up stuff like that nowadays. I think it's just something that's always been a part of human experience, and now we are just better at identifying when certain stuff is happening. But boomers certainly love pretending like our generation is so obsessed with making this shit up, but I don't think we are. think we're just like better at talking about that stuff. Or, well, most of us are. Certainly there's people out there who, you know, like we talked about, like Andrew Tate and stuff like that, who like to downplay these problems and make sure that, not make sure, like, pretend that they're not real, you know? Because I'm sure it's more comforting for them to pretend like they're not real. But that's just not the reality of the situation. I don't know, I guess describing it as a different operating system makes sense. The biggest part of it is an extra difficulty level for social situations. Yeah, that's, I feel like that's fair. You know, if that's how you feel, like it's, you know, something that just makes certain things a bit more difficult to do. I would certainly see bipolar as something akin to that, just an extra challenge added to life, this game we call life, you know, it's just an extra thing I have to worry about, unfortunately. Most autistic people I've known mainly struggle with reading / understanding people and maintaining conversations with people. Yeah, that kind of tracks with what I was told as well, that it does affect socialization a lot and social interaction and the interpretation of like non-verbal cues, especially, that was a big thing. When we learned about it, that was one of the most difficult things, was the interpretation of like non-verbal things, like tone, like body language, stuff like that. Many conversations are short and to the point, and it can come off as rude to people who aren't as aware. Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, as I said, like, one of my best friends and many of the people I've considered some of my best friends have to deal with that on a daily basis, and yeah, I don't know, because I suppose because I'm bipolar and I also do things that a lot of the times are considered rude, like interrupting. I'm a terrible interrupter. I do it too much, and sometimes during important conversations, which is very frustrating, I'm sure. Like, that is not something I do maliciously at all. It's something that happens when I'm really invested in the conversation and really engaging with the conversation, but obviously it has like the opposite effect, like it has the opposite meaning for people who don't have to deal with this every day. And I think that is something that bipolar people have, which is like we're not always aware of like all the social norms that we should be following, or we just act on like impulse and stuff and don't think things through sometimes. So yeah, but it's also maybe a part of my personality. I don't know. It's kind of hard to know what is part of my personality, what isn't. My manager often jokes about this when he asks me a super long question and I just answer yes. Oh dear. No, but I get that. I have friends who, well, I have a friend in specific who, he finds it really helpful to, like, write a script for himself when he has something really important that he needs to talk about at length with someone, and Especially if it's something that is like tough to talk about or whatever, he'll have like sort of a monologue written out for himself, because it helps him like organize his thoughts and stuff, and get like all his thoughts out there. And I get that's not something very common that people do, but if it's something that helps him, you know, there's nothing, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But like, a lot of people would probably consider that to be a bit strange or a bit disingenuous or whatever, because you're reading off of a script during like a delicate sort of conversation. But you know, I do understand the need for that, because my thoughts are quite disorganized sometimes as well, you know, because of bipolar. I think having to deal with that daily has made me more understanding of people with autism and ADHD and other things like that they might have to deal with on a daily basis, because I do a lot of things that people might find weird as well, but I know I have my reasons to do it, and so that's kind of how I see it when, you know, friends who are autistic do something that's like not super usual. I just don't really, I probably don't judge it as much, because you know, I have it in the back of my mind that I also do weird things, you know, or things are perceived as weird by other people, I should say. But yeah, I think that's kind of like the opposite of what you described, because what you're describing is like having like really short answers, yeah, for something that maybe people are like expecting like a more, I don't know, more sort of complex answer or whatever, or more involved answer. But they just go yes or okay. But yeah, I can see that being sort of misinterpreted as someone like not really caring to answer, or giving it, or not really caring enough to give a long answer or whatever. But yeah, it has nothing to do with that. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh my god, I love that guy. He's so funny. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. I just love those. For a while I was like watching those videos pretty regularly. And the Bob Ross Kappa, oh no. But yeah. Today was just a chill day to restock. There we go. I thought I had more vanilla ale than that. I must have put it away by accident. No, okay. Because I've put some vanilla ale here to like flavorize, and then I kept some to serve to people without flavors added. Ooh, let's make some corn chowder. Oh, I don't have enough vegetable broth for 2 helpings. Hold on. Let's make that corn chowder. Oh, wow. Yeah, oh man. honestly, I love dealing with autistic people. They're great. As long as people are not, like, intentionally malicious to me, I get along with everybody, honestly. And, I don't know, I think you can sort of tell when someone is being an asshole on on purpose, I mean, or if they're, like, dealing with something else, you know? I think, at least. It's pretty clear to me. Usually, anyways. Every so often, you meet somebody and you think they're a nice person, and then it turns out, not so much. And you're like, whoa, I had no idea. That person did such a good job of keeping that under wraps, you know? Sometimes that happens, but it's quite rare. For me, at least. I'm usually quite good at judging people's character. But, yeah, there's some individuals out there who, oh boy, they're really good at faking, you know, being nice and stuff. And they'll surprise you. I don't know, you're probably more aware of these things than most people and are therefore more understanding. I hope so. I hope that I am as understanding and, like, accommodating as I can be. I don't know if I'm more aware of these things than most people. Maybe because of, like, certain jobs I've had, like I said. And, yeah, I think having to deal with similar things and having met people going through similar things, I think that does help. I don't know, but it would be so nice if we could all just get along. But yeah. I'm starting to lose my train of thought. So sorry. Trying to fill out this menu here. It's so easy now with 2 ovens. It's so easy keeping things stocked. I've personally noticed the big difference between people who know someone personally with autism versus people whose only experience with autism is the weird smart kid in their random TV show. Oh my god, TV shows are so terrible. TV shows and movies are so fucking terrible at representation of people with neurodivergent traits or people with mental health illnesses. It's just so bad, man. It's just awful. For instance, I love Sia, but goddamn, that movie that she made about the autistic kid who wanted to be a musician or whatever, and I have not watched that movie, and I will not watch that movie because it will infuriate me if I do. Because I've seen, like, commentary videos about it, and I've seen, like, reviews of it, and I'm like, this is terrible. This is ass. Why would you do that? Why would you do that at all? Why would you make a project like this and not do a single bit of research? And why wouldn't you talk to actual people that go through this, and why wouldn't you cast somebody who is going through this? As I'm sure autistic actors would love the opportunity to actually, you know, represent what that's all about and do a good job of representing it and stuff. And they would do a good job of pointing out all the big misses. There were so many misses. Good God, that was... What a stinker that was. I think it's called Melody. Oh my god. There's a video that's been recommended to me a lot where the title is I Made Autistic People Watch Sia's Terrible Movie About Autistic People. And I do not have the courage to watch that. I'm not even gonna click on it because I know it would be infuriating. But it might be fun to see how actual autistic people react to that stinker of a movie. But I don't know. I love Sia's music, and it has helped me so much in like dealing with my mental health illness and stuff, because she is bipolar and she talks about it openly, and like some of her music is, you know, about feelings around that, and I respect that greatly. But like, why would she mess with things that she does not understand, though? That's what I'm like, interesting move, you know? I just, like, girl, no, like, you don't know anything about what you're talking about, so why would you talk about it at length, you know? Wild. A wild idea, wild behavior. But yeah, just hearing what people had to say about that movie, I was like, oh, I don't know about that. See ya. You know. Another artist that has greatly disappointed me, even though it's a person whose work I respect. I mean, and I don't count that movie as part of her work, because that was just a turd of a movie that she was involved in, that she wanted to make, and that she was, I think, too involved in the making of it. Oh my god. Oh goodness me. Whenever I think about it. But I cannot actually watch The Thing. I can only watch content about The Thing because it's too infuriating to think about. I've personally noticed the big difference between people who know someone personally with autism versus people who's only... Yeah. Okay, I've already read this. I'm being stupid. Meh, I'm fine with the actor not actually being autistic. Probably better anyway with how people can be. But at least try to learn what autism actually is first. Yeah, she did not do that. She talked to a single organization that portrays themselves as being in support of people with autism, but really they just propagate a lot of horrible misconceptions about people with autism and autistic people, and they are like a group that actual autistic people denounce and are trying very hard to shut down because they are actually harmful to people with autism. And it is very unfortunate that those were the people that she chose to get all her research and all her information from for some reason, instead of maybe actually going to people with autism and asking about their experiences, actually talking to them, actually asking them questions, and asking, hey, who can I go to learn more? I don't know how she got so misdirected, but yeah, she definitely asked the wrong people for help, and that's why her movie gives so many like wrong perceptions about people with autism and autistic people. She just completely missed the mark on that, and like people online obviously were outraged, and then instead of actually listening, she just like doubled down and started responding in a not very productive way at all to criticism. So that only made things worse, obviously. It was, yeah, it was just kind of a shit show in general. But yeah, very unfortunate that sometimes, you know, people whose work you truly admire kind of let you down greatly through some of their work. Which, I don't know, it was just so out of left field. Like, why would you even choose to talk about that, make a movie about that, if it's not your own, like, experience at all, and you don't know anything about it? And yeah, she just chose to ask the wrong people for help with research, and just based her whole movie on everything that they were feeding her, which was all wrong information, as it turned out. I cannot remember, like, the name of the association she worked with for that movie, but I do remember people saying that it's, like, literally one of the worst groups out there, like, masquerading as this, like, resource for people with autism, but really they're horrible to that group of people specifically. So very unfortunate that happened, and very harmful, and very unfortunate that Sia, when people pointed that out, she just did not respond very maturely at all. Yeah. And, you know, if she was going through, like, a bipolar episode when she started, like, responding to things on Twitter, and then afterwards she, like, apologized for her behavior, it would be one thing, but no, like, there was no taking accountability for her actions, there was none of that, so one would assume that she was not really being influenced by symptoms, because that's honestly, that's something that, you know, can happen sometimes. Mental illness makes you respond to things in a very, you know, brash kind of way, and, like, defensive and stuff, but when you come to your senses, you then look at what you did and you're like, oh, I have to apologize to a bunch of people for what I did. And that's kind of like part of it. But if it comes from, you know, your soul, and you have no regrets, then that's a different story altogether, and you can't really blame that bad behavior on, like, any sort of mental illness or anything. And I mean, some things you just can't blame on mental illness at all. But I would say that, like, responding to stuff poorly on Twitter can be a result of, you know, mental illness, so the you know, getting the better of you, but it's just very different when you then don't acknowledge what you've done and don't, like, try to make things better. Then it's like, oh, that was all you. Okay. Oh, okay. You know? Yeah, I've had that many times. I used to have a lot of anger issues. And that's, yeah, I mean, as long as you, like, are aware of that and are, you know, taking steps to get that under control, then, you know, you're gonna be fine. It's just when people know that they have issues like that and they don't do anything about it, then it's awful. Oh, have I lost consciousness? No, I was about to press space to save the game properly. Damn it. I'm gonna wake up at 11 a.m. now in this game. Anyways, I think I have to leave that there because I've got a D&D session tonight, and so the stream cannot run as long as it usually runs, but this was a cute 2 hours of installing equipment on my new tavern and going through the VIP day with all the special dishes and stuff. And it was great talking about random things with you, Pizza. Thank you so much for coming and chatting and stuff. Always a pleasure to have you on the stream. And yeah, we had some interesting topics of discussion today for sure, and some a bit more delicate than others, but oh, you never played D&D? Oh my god, you should try it. It's so good. But yeah, I will have fun. I will have fun for sure as my bard, my dragonborn bard, who once read a sign in front of a shop. Like, after we interacted with that shop owner, and like she didn't really like us that much because we looked like a weird collection of people, she put up a sign saying no dragons, and my character went in anyways, so I was like, well, I'm not a dragon, I'm just a dragonborn, so what? and we got into a fight, and yeah, we got into a fight with her sons who were protecting the shop and stuff, and I was like, how? What? No, but I why is this escalated like this? I'm not doing anything wrong. And so, in our D&D Discord, my friends put that meme with, like, characters from Arthur. That's like this little girl saying, well, that sign doesn't apply to me because I can't read. It's like the Count going into a shop where it's in the sign read no dragons instead. It's so stupid. That sign doesn't apply to me because I can't read. But yeah, that was really funny. Just so many funny stories came from our D&D party's adventures. But yeah, can't wait for that. But yes, I've got to make dinner and eat dinner before all of that. So I'll have to end that there. But thank you so much for coming with me on this journey and talking about random things. Yeah, like conspiracy theories and autism and pretty normal conversation topics like that. Yeah, for sure, Pizza. Thank you so much. And yeah, have a wonderful night, everybody. If you're watching this VOD back on YouTube, I appreciate you. Leave a little like, if you will, and subscribe and do all the internet things. If you're watching this on Twitch, I appreciate you, and please follow if you want to know when I'm streaming next. But all of that being said, take care, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one. Fae blessings unto all my fellow gamers out there. Goodbye.